Hey guys, I'm Kevin Kreider. I just want to clear things up a little bit. My last name is German and Irish, but I'm also Korean adopted. So that's why I have the last name Kreider. I have grown up, I've been a fitness coach for a while, turned into a personal development coach. I'm what you would call like an Instagram influencer now. I've been a model, I've been sober for 3.5 years, and I'm also a recovering self-hating Asian. And I say that because I wasn't always a self-hating Asian growing up. I came from a really loving adopted family, actually. But I remember my first memory that I was different was some little kid going around going, "Oh, you're Ching Chang Chong, you Bruce Lee, what the?" Right? I'm sure you got that once in a while. And then I started dating, or at least tried to date. And I remember going up to my first white girl and saying, "Hey, you want to go out to a date?" And she said to me that I don't find Asian guys attractive. Okay. Then I went to an Asian girl and asked her out. And what do you think I got? Close. I got all the gamut. It was, I only find white guys attractive, I don't date my brother, all of those things. So I realized that I was taught at an early age, I was taught that I was inferior. But what ended up happening was I got involved in sports and academia, right? And then I got in this exclusive club. I was the token Asian guy at the table. I was allowed in on this exclusive club. And right there, they said to me, they gave me all the microaggressions. They were like, "Well, you're not the typical Asian guy. You know, you're kind of attractive for an Asian guy. You're not nerdy, you're not skinny. You're really white, Kevin." Great. But then I got in on the jokes for their approval. I made fun of my own kind. And that's where the self-hatred really came in. That, to me, was the first sign that I started to teach them how to treat me as an inferior. I taught them how to treat me as an inferior. I got in on the jokes. I started only dating white girls because, who doesn't want like a white girl, right? I started to give back the same self-hatred that was happening to me, and I gave it back. And I knew this was wrong. Deep down inside, every time I made an Asian joke at my own expense, I knew something was wrong. It didn't feel good. But then I go back into modeling. I got a modeling career, and I think things are gonna be better. And I go to Southeast Asia because I'm like, you know what? Let's give this a chance. And I gotta tell you, I've experienced my first Asian girl, and it was awkward. Kind of like having sex for the first time. It was just a little awkward, but I knew I liked it. And then I had Korean barbecue for the first time, hanging out with a bunch of Asians, and I was like, yummy. All these white people are missing out. But then in Asia, I come with a tan, think I'm gonna rock it there. And the first thing I get when I get off the plane was, "Man, you are tan. You look like a slave worker. This is my agent." And then he gives me a realistic breakdown of how I'm gonna be working there, which is first in hierarchy of attractiveness and sexiness are white people. Second, Hapas, half Asian, half white. You come third, you're Korean American. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna be working that much here. I felt so ashamed because I realized that we are starting to teach each other how to treat us as inferiors. We were teaching each other how to treat us as inferiors. I had a friend in Southeast Asia. His name was George. True story. I'd say he's an average white guy, but he was killing it. And he was saying to me, he's like, "I love Southeast Asia." And I was like, "I think it's all right." And I was like, "What do you like so much about it?" And this is his exact words, and I get a little weird every time I say this. But he said to me, "It's because here, I'm treated like God." Here, he is God. Back in New York, he's just an average guy. And I make this comparison. I'm like, man, all these Southeast Asians, like, they don't realize it, but they're getting like second hand-me-down bags from like Chinatown. Like, they're not even getting the best of the best, and they're like flocking to this guy like he's God. And I felt so ashamed. So, going back to it, I started dating a girl. And she's from Singapore. She's from Singapore. And the first thing that she does is show my Instagram to her family members. They're all Asian. And guess what the first thing was that they said to her? I thought he'd be white. We teach each other that we are inferior. True stories. I mean, I can keep going on with these stories. They're just endless. Look, I had to be really honest with myself that I didn't feel good about myself. I had to be really honest that I was doing everything to strip away my identity as an Asian person. But it was weird because I wanted the approval here, but I didn't want your approval. I didn't fit here, I didn't fit there. It's like, where will I go? And it wasn't until I was really honest with myself to say that this is a problem. I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm really just going through all this self-hatred that I could actually have a solution. And part of the solution was getting involved with the Asian community, being of service to each other. That is when it really started to happen for me. Guess what? A miracle happened. I started to have a lot of self-love for myself. I started dating Asian girls. And then part of me was like, am I just dating them because they're Asian? You know, like, but what's wrong with that? You don't hear too many white people saying that, you know? Am I just dating you because you're white? So I really found a lot of love and acceptance in all of that. So what I've been doing recently is I've actually created a dinner series. I host it once a month here because I figured that, you know, if I'm the token Asian at the table, I'm going to create my own table. And everybody's allowed. Everybody has a seat at that table. So it's basically held once a month. Asian entrepreneurs, entertainers are all welcome there. And there we can get vulnerable, we can love, we can share our stories, we can empower and elevate each other. And that's what I've been doing. I also got invited in a documentary, so my documentary is coming out, and it's about my life and basically how Asian masculinity has been swept under the rug and my experience through all of that. So that's the stuff I've been doing. So to strip away all that self-hatred, if you got anything from this, because I know there's a lot to talk about, I really hope that you can find love and service in our community. Thank you.